Good morning and welcome to the MTD CNC's Question Time. This is the second show of the year and we're super excited to share an extremely special show with you. This is all about MACH 2020, and who better to have on the show than James Fudge, who belongs to the MTA, which is the Manufacturing Technologies Association. James has been with the company since 2011 and we're really looking forward to learn about his background and what to expect from MACH 2020. So if you are completely new to MACH 2020, just like I am, then please feel free to ask as many questions as you like. Just get your questions in, your queries, comments, whatever you like. I'm joined with Gio today. You've been to MACH plenty of times, haven't you?
I have, Gina G, yeah. So I can't wait for this show. And welcome to the show, James.
Thanks very much. No, thanks for having me on.
So I thought we'd start obviously from the very beginning. If you could tell us maybe a little bit about your background and your journey up to how you joined the MTA.
So I was originally working for another trade association in the Midlands. I was living in Leicester at the time. And I then was moving down to London, looked at a couple of other associations through links that we had. And there was a job going at the MTA with regard to education and development. So I joined in 2011, looking after that side of things.
Yeah.
So mainly it was to do with some of the services we offer, so some of the schools competitions we run, the activities we do, STEM outreach, and then also looking at the education and development zone within MACH. So MACH 2012 was my first one. Brilliant. And I did MACH 12-14 as the education and development officer and looking after that area. And then moved into this role as head of events in 2015.
Excellent. And you are responsible for that dedicated team who execute MACH. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the Manufacturing Technologies Association own and organise it. So all the sales and the large proportion of the operations are done by us. And then in terms of delivering the show, we use an external party along with a whole team of contractors that help us get there and actually install everything on site.
Wow.
In regards to engineering, James, you've been in it now since 2011. What do you think of it as an industry?
So for me, coming into it, this was an industry I didn't particularly know that well. And the changes we've seen, I mean, the show is a great benchmark for us because you do see every 2 years the real changes. But actually the way in which it's changed, you know, since I've been there, since 2011, it's been huge. You know, the digitalisation piece that's come through, the advancement of additive manufacturing and metal-based 3D printing, it really is evolving at a quicker and quicker rate.
In regards to the Manufacturing Technologies Association, the MTA, that's been going for over 100 years now. So the changes from back then to now must be, you know, unbelievable.
I think that's the thing. I mean, last year was our 100th
Obviously,
anniversary.
You can speak from experience 100 years ago like that.
Yeah, I haven't been there for all of those years. But yeah, so last year was our centenary. And I think the thing is we've gone from, you know, we grew out of the Machine Tool Trade Association and we've really made that change to manufacturing technologies, and that's still ongoing. But you now look at our membership and there's a lot more in terms of the automation side, as I say, in terms of additive. You know, we try and reflect that in all our committees and on our board as well, represent all those technologies that our members cover, you know, and things like surface engineering, welding, metal forming as well as metal cutting. You know, just try and cover all those areas.
And firstly, before we touch upon and go into technologies and MACH, you know, who are the MTA? For people that are not aware of the MTA, for people that, you know, assume you're one thing but maybe you're something else, you know, what does it entail to become a member?
So I guess a lot of people see us as the organisers of MACH, which is one part of what we do, but there's also quite a lot we do as an association. So we're a team of 20 people based in London, but we have member companies all throughout the UK. And they are technology providers, enablers, they could be on the software and digital side, they could be the users, the end users and subcontractors. We've got quite a broad range of members. And the association itself offers a number of different services. So there is a discount to come to the show, but we also do a lot in terms of representation. So we do a lot of lobbying in Westminster and we are the voice for the manufacturing sector, and work very closely with a lot of other associations as well. We have our own in-house statistician, so we collate the UK statistics. So a lot of people will use the MTA's figures as the UK output when looking at forecasts for the next sort of 5-6 years.
Are those kind of stats, are they public? Or?
There is an element of them which are, that we feed into, but mostly they're for members. So those that put into the figures get the figures back out again. And again, we have a members-only event, which is a forecast seminar we do with Oxford Economics every year. And that looks at different sectors, so that goes through aerospace, automotive.
Oh, that'd be so interesting to see. Yeah.
And what's really interesting is we've started to bring in the tooling usage. So what you're seeing isn't just the number of new pieces of technology and equipment that's being produced, but actually the usage figures as well. So that gives a great idea as to what the industry is doing. We've also got a technical department who will look after technical inquiries, and we have a link with BSI. So members looking for standards have access to up to 200 standards a year free to view. And we do a lot of work on that side. So we will sit on a lot of the British standard boards. I'm trying to think of different areas. Oh, education and training is the other big one, of course. That's, as I say, where I started. So that's an outreach programme with our schools, and also looks after bringing the 3,500 students that visit MACH, as well as some of the other outreach activities that we do.
Oh, brilliant. So you help those students actually attend or come to MACH?
Yeah, so for us, it's, you know, you've got a whole week where you've got the UK showcased in terms of manufacturing and engineering. So for us, it's a great shop window to bring students along. And we have a specific education development zone. So that's got some activities and some features in there that explain about kind of what's coming up in the sector, but also talks them through the whole process. So we've got a big feature this year supported by Sandvik Coromant, which will be a singular part from the Mars rover. Airbus Space and Defence were at the show, and they're bringing the Mars rover, and they've actually given us a piece from it. And it will be going through the different stages in terms of things like tooling, CAD/CAM, metrology, to actually explain how all those parts work to make that one piece.
I think it's an absolutely fantastic show for students to attend, to learn. I think it's a fantastic industry to get into. It's at the forefront of technology, and I think it's a great show to really kind of change the perception of engineering for people that may have a different perception of it. If you were an engineer, and a busy engineer, which most engineers are, thankfully, in the UK, why would they take their time out of their busy schedules to visit? Or why should they?
I think for me it's about seeing the new innovations. So you've not only got the new innovations in terms of every exhibitor will be bringing new pieces of technology, and sometimes that's not always the physical technology that's changed, it's sometimes the digital and the software that sits behind that. But you've also got, so this year we've got the high value manufacturing catapults, representing all of the 7 centres from around the UK, but 3 of the centres are actually coming along. So you've got the Manufacturing Technology Centre coming along with the Drama project, which is all about additive manufacturing and metal-based 3D printing. You've got the Advanced Forming Research Centre coming down from Scotland, and they're bringing an Interreg sponsored project called Machining 4.0, which is all about the latest Industry 4 technology. And then you've also got the Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre, who are bringing a project which is all about lightweighting and electrification. And they've actually got a physical demonstration of that using a Caterham car. And I think that's the thing, is coming along and seeing those technologies. We did a great feature with the AMRC last year, which was about retrofitting machinery, legacy machines, with sensors to make it I4 ready. And the cost of refitting one of these machines was £200.
Wow.
And it was the point of saying, you know, it doesn't have to be expensive, this is what you can do. And actually the information that's come off of that has really helped lead other projects as well.
So what you're saying really, James, and it's what we all know really, education is key. Education is the key.
Massively. And for us, it's not just about bringing in a new generation of engineers, which is obviously very important, but it's also about upskilling current workforce. So alongside that, we've also got a seminar programme which has a complete mix of supply chain-led presentations, as well as some educational and technology-based presentations
and
as
what
well.
incentives will people have to visit the exhibition, and where do the people come from? Is it just from the UK or from around the world?
So it's a mix really. We are the national show, so predominantly the audience is UK-based. And we get quite a lot of Southern Island visitors as well. But we do get people from across Europe and from across the world, quite a lot from America as well, because it's a chance to come and see the UK. And I think that's what people come for, is they know that the UK, in terms of innovation, are still one of the world leaders.
I mean, with technologies and innovations, we are renowned for innovations in the UK. And without innovation in evolution, we're not going to move forward, and the world is getting a smaller place. We need to remain competitive globally. So we mentioned Industry 4.0 and automation, 3D printed printing, additive manufacturing. What kind of examples of that kind of technology are going to be on show, and what kind of demonstrations will there be there, apart from the 3 organisations, James?
Yeah, I mean, there's a real mix, and we're now starting to see what people are planning to bring to the show. So our exhibitors are submitting all their stand plans and what they're bringing, and what we're seeing is more and more robotics throughout the show, integrated into other stands. So whilst we do have an automation zone, and Made Smarter are coming along to talk to SMEs about how they can get involved on their automation journey or even improve what they've got already. You're also seeing a lot of the major exhibitors are bringing automation pieces that will be part of that story. And so you're really seeing that throughout the show. And again, we've never had an I4 zone because the whole industry is now talking about connectivity. And the next generation of technology.
Definitely.
It's all interlinked.
Sorry, Gio, I was just going to say, give a little bit of a call out. So hello to Bobby and Lee on Instagram, and also Stephen and Hassan on Instagram. Thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to obviously comment any questions or queries that you may have. We're talking about MACH 2020 here, and what inspires people to obviously go to MACH. I've never been to MACH myself, so I'm really, really interested to kind of learn more about it. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to just jump on and just put your comments in. So sorry, Gio.
Oh, no, sorry, Jean.
Just needed to say that.
You did go to Southern last week, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to Southern Manufacturing. I found that really inspiring.
Yeah,
that was really good.
I think when we look at these new technologies now, you know, we look at automation and Industry 4.0, but they're all interlinked now, aren't they? And I think that's what's occurring. I think that they're all kind of communicating with each other. Yeah. And it's the data, you mentioned data from yourselves that you get. And that data effectively can make you more efficient, more productive. And I think it's key, in my opinion, and what we teach at MTD, is that without embracing the latest technologies and innovations, you're not going to become more profitable, more efficient. You need to be able to go and see what is the latest technology to help your organisation to be competitive.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. And as I say, it's the whole raft of technology that's there. It's the whole manufacturing technology sector. I think people tend to, or have seen it as a metal cutting show, but actually when you start looking at things like surface finishing, grinding and abrasives, you start looking at all the different zones we've got. I mean, the metrology zone there is absolutely huge, and visual inspection is obviously a massive part of what goes on. But actually it's that chance of coming along and going, right, how do I make my business more productive? And that's what people do, is they come along now with challenges. So they might come along with a drawing and go, right, how do I make this? Or the thing I always say to our visitors is go to the exhibitors and say, how can you help me make my business more productive?
Definitely, and on that note, I've got some stats here, and it says that from 2018 at that MACH, it generated £200 million worth of reported business for other people, and 95% of exhibitors generated leads, and 80% of exhibitors raised their profile. So that's absolutely massive numbers right there in itself, and I'm sure that even just raising your personal profile is more than enough to warrant going.
Well, I think that's the thing, is people need to see this. This isn't a week to exhibit at a show. This is part of a 2-year business cycle, max every 2 years. You know, now we are seeing a lot of people advertising and making sure their customers are coming to the event. They've then got a week-long showcase, and then they've got a follow-up period that can run up to 18 months. And because when you look at some projects, people will come to a show to look at equipment. They won't specify that for another 2 years. So actually people won't be making sales from that instantly. You'll be building that pipeline up. And that for us is so important. And we've actually invested, last year was the first year we used smart badge technology, and it's worked really well, so we're doing that again this year.
What was that, sorry?
With the badges, people have 2 options. One, they can either scan the QR code on their phone, and you can attach voice notes, photos, you can do a selfie with them if you really want to, and it attaches it all and it uploads it all to the cloud, so you've got that information ready.
Oh, wow.
So you can either have someone back at the office who's sending out information directly, or you can follow up with them in the weeks after. So
would you say it's key to have a good marketing team on board with you when you go to MACH?
Massively.
Yeah.
Because the other thing that you can do is these badges are smart enabled, so we have touch points around the show, so you can purchase a touch point, and then when people touch their badge on that touch point, you get their contact details, and they get information that you've pre-uploaded on there.
Oh, wow.
So that can be, we find smaller exhibitors really like it, because if there's only 2 people on the stand, one's had to leave for a minute and the other one's talking to someone and someone's not got time to stop, they can tap their badge, get the information and move on. Our larger exhibitors put 1 on every machine, so you can actually get the technical specifications off of each part of equipment that you touch on. And it means it's just another way of capturing that information to get those leads.
Effectively, it's like a solution providing exhibition. So it's imperative for UK engineers to attend such an exhibition if they want to kind of learn the latest new technologies and skills. And it's all good and well looking at a book, a magazine, or looking at a product on MTD, but to be able to physically go and see that product and actually get a real life demo, it's priceless, surely. And to talk to people, people buy from people.
Yes, that's the thing, is face to face. The power of live events and face to face business is huge. And the point is, all this equipment that turns up and all this technology isn't just demoing, it's live demonstrating. So you've actually got it all under power. I mean, it takes us 7 days to install the whole exhibition because everything needs power, compressed air, coolant, oil. You know, the whole lot needs to be. It's a small city we build. I
just wanted to say hello to everybody watching on Instagram and YouTube. Get your questions in. Just tap away, join the chat, join the discussion. If you're, let us know if you're attending MACH 2020. We're just discussing the reasons why you should attend MACH and the benefits of that and raising your profile. I've got fantastic stats here. I know that we've just been talking about like learning about the innovations, but I think that just using MACH as maybe even a networking tool. It sounds like it's 80% raise their profile. I think that's an incredible number, that percentage there.
I mean, the thing is, you've got 25,000 visitors coming over 5 days, but you've also got an extra 9,000 exhibitors. We don't count in those, so they are just unique visitors coming to the show when we say 25,000. So actually, you've got nearer 35,000 people in the same room. And what's really interesting is, of those 600 exhibitors, particularly on the Monday morning, you see them all moving around stands because actually the supply chain is represented there. And this year we've got HS2 have taken a large stand with us. They're coming along because they want to find the UK supply chain. They want to find the next skills for the next generation, but they also want to engage with the UK supply chain for everything they're going to need for that project.
I think it's fantastic. I think it's a brilliant show, the best in the UK for sure. Now, as an engineer, would you say to them, go to MACH with an open mind if you've never been before? You don't really know sometimes the solution that you need until it's presented to you.
I think that's the thing, is come along, as you say, very much with an open mind. My recommendation to people is still register early, because what you'll do is get the pre-reg pack sent out to you. And within that pre-reg pack, you get your badge for one, which means you can walk straight in, but you also get an A to Z of all the exhibitors and a floor plan, so you can start planning your day out. This is a very big show. We're already bigger than we were last year. And we're in the new halls that we went into in 2018. So we're 6 of the halls at the NEC. It's a big show. The amount of people that now come for 2 days, we've got discounts with local hotels on our websites. You get discounts on travel. For us, it's really key that if people are planning on coming for 2 days, they take that time to plan.
We have had a question come in. So if MACH 2018 was all about Industry 4.0, what is the emerging technology we can expect to see at MACH 2020? And that's from Mac on Insta.
So I think you'll start seeing that develop in terms of the Industry 4 piece. That has grown massively. And I know I keep talking about the additive zone, but again, that's another zone that for us has really grown. When you look at it being rapid prototyping and 3D printing, maybe only 3 or 4 shows ago, that has really come on leaps and bounds. We've also got, as I say, a dedicated automation area this year, which is really worth going to see. And as I say, if you're an SME looking at starting your journey or how to enhance it, go and see Made Smarter. Because again, they're not going to try and sell you a specific type of technology. They're going to talk about the best solution for you.
I know this might be off topic a little bit, but if you are a business or an engineer looking to kind of automate, have you got the stats to say like the average amount that you should be spending within your business to automate it?
I think it kind of depends on what you want to do. So like I say, last year we did this project on legacy machining where we spent £200 retrofitting it. Now that gave very basic data from it, but it gave you a live dashboard on that machine. That's obviously a very low cost option.
Starting point.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is sometimes people don't know where to start. I think that's the key to it. So it's not so much about, well, how much do I need to spend? It's where am I and where do I want to get to, and what can I do incrementally to build that as part of the process. I
think with us, we're in quite a privileged position to be kind of learning about all of the technologies every day at MTD, but for some people they're cocooned within their own environments, and I think that technology in general is moving at such a rate and evolving at such a rate that it's a fantastic opportunity to really get to grips with what's new and how it will, but not just the actual product and what it can do, but how it can solve a problem within your organisation.
And I think that's it's how it fits into the whole story.
And from a student perspective, James, as well, you mentioned education, but what about the skills gap and apprentices as well? I think that's another point.
So as I say, that's something as the MTA we look at very much, and we do, as I say, an annual schools competition for 14 to 18 year olds. We do a lot of STEM outreach work, but for us, MACH, as I say, is an ideal showcase. So we have a dedicated student entrance, so we can bring the coaches right to the door. We bring them into the education development zone and give them a quick briefing on what they're going to see. And then rather than go, right, best of luck, have a lovely day, we pair them up with apprentices from member companies and from other exhibitors. So groups of sort of 10 to 15, and they get given guided tours of the show.
It's fantastic.
So it means they get to see all those technology areas. And what's great is obviously as an exhibitor, you know the exact time they're coming. So you can actually dedicate 15 minutes where you know you're going to get a group, you can talk to them about your technology, and it means that you've not got a sort of mixture all day long, and you can still focus on the main reason for being there as well. But it's great. I mean, I say we had 3,500 through the door at the last MACH. And we're hoping to grow that number again this year. Students over the week, over the 5 days.
Yeah. So how many colleges and universities do you work with to?
So it's about 100. So some will send 4 or 5. Some will send up to 100 students. It really is a mix. But again, we have to limit those on certain days. So if there's schools or colleges that are looking to come, they need to book early to let us know which days they're coming.
How do they do that? How do they apply?
So through the MACH website, if they click on register here, there's an option that says, are you a school or college? You just follow that, and also you don't have to register each individual student, and you just put the final number in.
That's great.
Do you ever get any feedback in regards to the students that attend, or potentially not even engineers at the time looking for a career? How many people actually attend and end up becoming an engineer through MACH?
One of my favourite stories was in 2016. One of the guides that came from one of our members, I started explaining the tours, and he said, "Oh, I know, I did it last year with my college." So he'd come along and done the tour.
Oh, brilliant.
And you know, some of them will be, as I say, engineering apprentices, so they'll be assigned to a company, but there's quite a lot that come along and go, no, I want to get into this sector, who do I talk to? And so actually it's a good opportunity for them to see the job opportunities and actually contact some of those exhibitors in their local area. So we've actually seen quite a lot transition from those being on the tour to those actually then working at a member company.
Wow, that's brilliant, that is, isn't it? I mean, this is the first time MTD are doing a live stream from the show. So from Monday to Thursday, well, to Friday actually now this year, we're going to be doing live streams, MACH packs from DNG, Mori, NCMT, Star and MAZAC. So that'll be fantastic with a live Swarf and Chip show on the Friday. So again, if you can't make MACH, you know, you can watch it live from MTD. But no, James, it's absolutely brilliant stuff.
Thank you. And obviously, if you've just joined us, I've got to say hello to Osman on Instagram. Feel free to comment, ask your questions, or put forward any suggestions that you may have. This is completely live, so make sure that you are, and let us know if you are going to MACH 2020. Definitely.
James, now moving on to kind of the future, if you like, you know, you've been around for just over 100 years. You're probably going to be going on for another 100 years at the MTA, that is.
Not me.
But, you know, you obviously deal with government. Are there any incentives from the government as a business to attend MACH?
So I guess one of the main things that we pushed as an association, with some of the other engineering associations, was the annual investment allowance, which was at £200,000. For last year and this year, that's now at £1 million. So anyone attending MACH can actually take that as a benefit. And I think that's the other thing that's really important, is there's not only this range of technology, but I don't think it's ever been more affordable. You know, we are sponsored by Lloyds Bank. There are other asset finance companies there as well. But actually taking some of these incentives and utilising now is the ideal time to do it.
Yeah. Oh, we've just got something come in. Interco Special Steels and Alloys say hi on Instagram.
So hello. If you've got any questions, feel free to comment. Yeah, and we look forward to seeing you guys at MACH. Definitely, they'll definitely be there. So
we'll see you on the Friday and we'll do the live Swarf and Chip show.
Yeah.
Great.
Brilliant, thank you. So yeah, is there any other kind of benefits to attending MACH except the innovation, the education, from a business perspective more than anything?
As I say, I think seeing the live technology and seeing what's out there and what's available, and like I say, come with some challenges. Come and look with an open mind to see what solutions are there, and talk to some of these feature stands we've got. Have a look around. Talk to all our exhibitors. You know, these guys aren't there they're not there to hard sell. They're actually there to go, right, this is what we can do. And I've even known exhibitors to say, we can't provide that, but this is who you should go and speak to.
Definitely. And if anybody that's watching in now has a stand as an exhibition, what's the most innovative marketing kind of strategy that anybody's put on a stand before that you've seen?
I'm trying to think. I've seen a couple. So there was one stand one year that basically built a small jungle.
Really? I love it. I think it's so creative.
It was very much like I'm a Celebrity, so you had to put your hand in these holes and try and work out what you were feeling, because their product was a very tactile one.
Oh, that's amazing.
How much business they did from that, I don't know, but I know that it worked very well for them because that stand was really busy all week. I guess we see quite a lot, and people, I mean, this is the thing I like about MACH, is it's if you look at what we do as an association and what we organise, effectively we have our stand regulations, which mean that people have to build to a certain degree and a certain level, but in effect we're just putting in the aisle carpets. It's down to the exhibitors to build those stands. And people, I think, as an industry have really grown, and that's really obvious now, and the stands that we see at the shows now are really inviting, are really innovative, and it actually means that people want to go on them and want to have a chat with people.
That's what I'm really excited to see.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. I've been to quite a few MACs myself, but I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's, as well, you know, from a broader perspective, it's such a brilliant showcase for UK manufacturing in general. I mean, we're well renowned for being fantastic engineers, you know, making the most complex components, and I feel, you know, it's a fantastic platform for us as the UK to promote ourselves from. And something we should be really proud of.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, when I travel to quite a few of the other international shows as well, when because we look after a lot of UK pavilions when we go to these overseas shows, and for me, you still get told that the UK is really held in high regard in terms of innovation, and I don't think that's ever going to change, or certainly not in the near future, because we are really at the forefront of a lot of things, and MACH being that shop window for the UK in terms of manufacturing and engineering, you know, it remains the national show for that. And certainly because it runs over 5 days and gets the number of people it does, I don't really see that changing.
And what's your forecast really for UK manufacturing? You know, where do you see UK manufacturing in the next 2 to 4 years?
I mean, at the moment it's been talking to a lot of our members. You know, we've come from quite a high peak, which we're coming down from, but not massively. We're still at a very high level. A lot of our members are still doing a lot of business. And we do tend to see MACH just helps keep that afloat, because like I say, it's not just the week of that show, it's people building a pipeline, and it does tend to just smooth that out the year.
Great.
So yeah, it looks quite positive for the next couple of years.
I mean, you've been to a few MACs now, you know, what most are you looking forward to, James?
I think for me, I mean, there's obviously that first morning when it's all finally finished and ready, particularly having been there for 7 days, and you know, we see it from a bare floor. And it's a big space, and so everything's very structured in the way in which it comes in and gets craned in, etc. But for me, it's when all those stands are finished and when you start seeing people coming through those doors on those busy stands, and just seeing everything live and working. You know, for me, as I joined in November 2011, so it was 5 months before I went to MACH. And as soon as I got there, I understood what all these companies did. I understood the industry more, because it is just our showcase for our industry and our sector. Brilliant.
We've got less than 5 minutes to go, guys. So if you have got any questions, we have got a question up on the there on the screen. So if you've got any other questions, make sure that you are quickly commenting and asking your questions. So we got in the world of auto. Sorry, guys, can you just scroll it up a little bit or down? Thanks. I can't see the question at all now. I'm so sorry. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions, you've got less than 5 minutes to ask that. So make sure that you are. But yeah, James, thank you so much, obviously, for being on the show today. Okay, we're going to hopefully get that question back up on the screen. But yeah, if you've got any other questions, feel free to ask. Gio, have you got any other last questions?
No, I just think that, you know, I think you've covered most aspects, you know, most of my questions that you've covered really well. I think it's just a fantastic exhibition. I think that education is key. I think technology and innovation is key. And kind of, you know, for people that are not using that technology yet and not embracing that technology for whatever reason, you know, to be able to come to that show and to talk to people, whether it's because they feel they can't afford it, whether they feel that they don't need it, you know, they need to come to this show. This is where you can learn. This is where you can kind of take your business to the next level, and it's really important for UK manufacturing in general, full stop. You know, it's a big show. And people should, you know, invest their time to come and visit the show for one day.
Even if it's just from a networking perspective.
Absolutely,
I mean, like, just
100%.
learning that you can raise your profile by 80%, I think is more than enough for any engineer to get on board and go to MACH.
Yeah, and I think the other thing as well is, you know, as I say, we've got this seminar programme. It's kicking off on the Monday with David Holmes, who is the head of manufacturing from BAE Systems. We've got an additive manufacturing morning. We've got a morning being run by BSI with some panel discussions. We've got the chief economist of Lloyd speaking, so talking about forecasting for the next X amount of years, 5-6 years. We've got, I'm trying to think, we've got an I4 morning, so talking about connectivity and automation for the industry. We've got Jürgen Meyer speaking from Made Smarter. That's all going to go live on the MACH website over the next couple of days, so keep an eye out for that.
I think it's good as well, maybe the end of the year we have another QT to kind of discuss how MACH went.
Yeah.
You know, to kind of, you know, we talk about, we don't know exactly what to expect yet, how it's going to be different to 2018.
Yeah.
But it'd be certainly interesting to kind of look back and actually kind of take stock and see what was achieved, what the highlights were.
We also have a MACH 2022 stand at the show, so people that want to book their stand at the show can ready for the next edition.
Is it going to be busier than 2018?
Can't say at the moment. However, our pre-registration figures are up on last year, so we have got more people registered compared with the same week last time. So it looks like it, but obviously, I'd still encourage people to register early and make sure they get that information.
Thank you very much, James.
If we can just maybe close on this last question, that'd be great. Unfortunately, we can't. But thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much, James, for being here talking about MACH from the MTA. Thank you, Gio. Thank you, guys at home.
Thank you, James. Thanks for your time.
Tune in next month where we'll be talking to LK Metrology.